welcome back to another Tera Plays Tera video. So in today's video, we are going to go over stigmas in Tera Console. And it's been quite a while since I've, redone the stigma guide. If you want to check out the old basic format to stigmas, go check out my old guide. I will link it. It has great information as far as what the stigma roles typically are. I'm not going to go over covering too much about roles. What I want to cover in this guide is understanding where to get your stigmas, understanding what stigmas to use, how to upgrade, just go over the basic concepts of upgrading, leveling as best as I can with what I currently have in my inventory. So the first thing to kind of talk about is, where do you get stigma shards? Well, every time you complete a dungeon, you get stigma shards from just about all these dungeons. I believe Cursed AA gives close to 2,000 stigma shards per box. Grotto gives a lot. Like, you can get a lot of stigma shards a day now just by running dungeons. You can also get a ton of stigma shards by coming over here in Highwatch to this arcane supplies guy. You get these points from doing your world events, and it's only 2 Vanguard points to buy a stigma shard, or not Vanguard, 2 Guardian Legion points to buy a stigma shard. So basically, by doing your world events, doing Velica defense, not only do you get 15 stigma shards from here, but with 250 credits, that's a free 125 stigma shards just from that. You can do the math, multiply that by 4 times, you can get roughly 5,000 stigma shards a day just by doing your world events. Now, there's also good things to know about all the shops. Of course, the premium shop over here, you can buy your stat change stones, superiors, and dismantled ones. These guys over here, you can buy quite a bit of stuff for stigmas. I think you can buy, again, stat change stones, stat change rare stigma exchange coins. This guy gives you nothing, and I think this guy also gives you nothing. So the second one, having the rare coins, this is all really good stuff. You could get your blue stigmas pretty quick just from running these dungeons, and for going a little bit of gold, you can just, I think you need to collect 10 of these coins, and that's a free blue stigma. As always, you can buy stigma stuff from this guy right here. You can get about 2 legendary stigmas right from him, as well as 7 rare stigmas. And yeah, so there's a lot of places to just overall get your stigmas. And yeah, when you get your stigmas up to legendary, you have a few options. Now, let's understand, how do you level your stigmas? Well, if you have white stigmas and you get white stigmas to start, or greens, you're going to need to buy Feedstock. And you'll have to get each stigma up to level 5. Now, to upgrade a white to a green, you're going to have to get 2 whites to a level 5. It can be any white stigma. As long as it's for the lower tier, I do apologize, I gotta look at the names. As long as it's a Keffel, Soma, Brachium, or Skelos white at level 5, you need another one of those. It could be any Keffel, any Soma, any Brachium, any Skelos white plus 5, and you can upgrade one of the 2. So if you're trying to run all attack stigmas, well, you will need 2 of each white at plus 5 to get up to a green. To get from green to blue, you need to do the same. To get from blue to superior, again, you'll need 2 of the same tier. These 4 are the first tier. These 3, the Alps, Cardi, and Gaster, are the second tier to get up to legendary. Now again, if you want to get, a legendary ops from white, you're gonna need to have 2 white ops, or a white plus 5 ops and a white plus 5 cardia, and then you upgrade that ops to a green. Then you get that green ops to +5. You get another green ops Cardiagaster. Doesn't matter if it's attack, soul, or defense. That doesn't matter. And then you upgrade the ops you want to go to blue. You upgrade that with another +5 green to get it to blue. You follow this pattern. Again, to do that, you got to get the Stigma Feedstock, and that is over here. And you collect these Feedstocks to upgrade your Stigma to the next level. You can also spend Feedstock on rerolls, and that just allows you to change the stat of the Stigma. It is always randomized, so if you're trying to get specific stats, you got to keep rerolling until you get the ones you want. I'm gonna be honest, it is not worth rerolling your Stigmas until they're at least yellow. Once they're superior, go ahead, reroll them as much as you want. Again, this guide, I'm not really going to tell you what to play on your class. That's more for class guides. But typically, most DPS use attacks. Most tanks and healers use cooldown or use souls for cooldown. Again, if you play your class, you probably know it better than me. Warriors, we run full attacks because we want the most amount of damage. Typically, you want at least 6.5% roll or higher, meaning you want all 3 of your attack damaging rolls to be higher than 6.5. If it's less than 6.5, there's a chance that double cooldown might still be better. That is all the basics of Stigmas. And that is everything of Stigmas that was in the game when I made my first guide. Now again, I'm not going to go over roles, I'm not going to go over what you should run. Find a class guide. Like I said, most DPS run full attacks. Some DPS might run 1 cooldown, 1 soul, 4 cooldown, but typically you run full attacks nowadays with the damage changes. The differences of what they added, and I have one of them on Mifba, is a Refined Stigma. A Refined Stigma is new to the game. It was not in my original, guide. What a Refined Stigma is it's exactly the same as a normal legendary Stigma. But when you go to re-roll the Refined Stigma, it will not roll green rolls. You can only get yellow and blue rolls on your Refined Stigmas. Whereas legendaries, you can roll them a bunch of times and get a bunch of greens. It does not change what rolls can be on the Stigma, except for souls. Souls Refined, they did add an extra blue so you could have an easier time of getting triple cooldown on Refined Stigmas that regular legendaries don't have, but that's besides the point. Just throwing that information out there. But you cannot get a green when you're going from Refined. They also recently made a change that once you get a yellow Stigma or a legendary Stigma to +5, you can upgrade it for 1.5 million. And I don't know if you need another Stigma to go with it. I don't think so. I think you just need literally 1.5 million and you can go to a refined Stigma, and that means you can roll it. But here's the caveat. I'ma just show Mifba has nearly really top tier Stigma rolls. Most of these rolls I wouldn't ever re-roll. There is no point in me going to Refined personally. Now, if you are not happy with your rolls and you are tired of getting green ones, go for it. If you got the gold, spend the gold and get the Refined Stigmas, because re-rolling the Refined is technically a lot easier than legendaries, and we're going to cover the differences of that now. Refined Stigmas don't use just normal, re-rolls. You do have to craft your, where is it? I think it's melting. Yeah, you have to craft your stat change stones, and they are refined stat change stones. Now you can buy them off the trade broker. People do sell them. And what it costs is 5,000 Stigma Shards. A 0 is missing because I have 2,000 in my thing. 1 Stigma Refining Stone, and 1 Diamond. So with that, you can craft the stat change stones. It does take double the amount of stigmas, actually more than double, unless you crit, then it's still a bit more by just, 500. Whereas, a legendary stigma, a legendary stat change stone costs 2,000, where the refined costs 5,000. But again, the trade-off is now that you're not gonna, roll any green rolls. The thing with the refined though is that it has the same detect weakness. So again, if you are happy with your +5 legendaries and you're happy with your rolls, it's not worth upgrading them to a refine at this moment in time, because the only benefit you get is the re-rolling process. That's it. Refined Stigmas do not offer any other benefit. Now, you can, we'll check the trade broker, I'll see. You can get refined scrolls. You could buy refined, and the ops ones are right here, you can see. And basically, if you get 5 of those Stigma Refined Stones and 1,000 Stigma Shards, you can craft them. And the nice thing about crafting any of these is that you just automatically get a legendary stigma then. If you craft it from nothing, like if I bought this Refined Keffel attack and craft it right now, I would have exactly what's in my bank, a Refined Keffel attack. It would not be +5, and I would just have to re-roll it. So there's 2 ways to look at this. If you have a way of getting a refined stigma without upgrading from +5 to 0, it's kind of worth it. But if you're upgrading from +5 to 0 and you don't have that many feedstock to get it to +5 again, you are going to lose 5% weakness and you are going to have to re-roll it. So that's the trade-offs, and that's mostly what I really wanted to focus on with these stigmas, is that honestly, refined stigmas are great. Upgrading from a +5 to a refined is worth it if you have the stigma shards to do it, as far as getting the rerolls and you're really tired of seeing the green rolls. It's really good if you're running attack. Actually, it's semi-okay if you're running attack. It's really good if you're running cooldown. It is terrible if you're running defense, in my opinion. Defense does not have that many really good damaging rolls for tanks that it's worth to run refined. Whereas souls, it is really worth because there is 3 or 4 cooldown rolls that you can get off of them. And therefore, if you're trying to run a full cooldown build, I would recommend going for the refined. If you're running attack, play it by ear. And yeah, that's the stigma guide I have for you. We've covered where to get stigma shards. We've covered how to use your stigma shards. You just go over, click on them, and it enters you to the shop where you can buy all of your feedstock that you need, as well as any of your stat change stones. And of course, keep an eye out for all the events and good stuff like that, as you can just farm straight up refined, and you can farm stuff to get legendary stigmas. They typically are pushing giving them away. So really, if you're new, just chill out a bit. Upgrade them as you can. I believe doing the quest line that awakens you, they give you some green and white ones. And you can always farm out another set of green and white to upgrade them to blue. Chill on blue if you want until you can get enough to get your yellows. It's really up to you how to play it. That's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments section. I'll do my best to answer anything I can. As well as, don't forget to join the community Discord. There's a ton of players there that are offering tons of help. We actually have one of the developers of the game in the Discord, and they are being very awesome with communicating and telling us great updates that are coming out. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're excited to see more guides, more Tera Console content, or you just want to hear me rant on about stuff, consider subscribing and hitting the notification to catch all of my new videos coming out. As always, I hope you're having a fantastic and or wonderful day or night. I hope to see ya in Aboria. As always, gamers, and yeah.